Welcome to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. I just want to start by giving a shout out to my viewers in Oman, in Bahrain. I also had an American give me a shout out from Amsterdam. And I said Tobago, but it's Tobago in Trinidad. Welcome. Good morning to my subscribers in the Philippines. Good evening to my subscribers in America and beyond. I always give a special shout out to my new viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I want to give a shout out to the Roosters. You know, they're the king of the Philippines, so you know, you got to get used to that when you get over here. They're not going anywhere. But your kindness, your generosity, your support for Sunshine Shoulders has really been amazing, and I want to thank you. You know, every video, I hope I never forget to thank you for that. My channel is geared toward a new man and woman who's never been to the Philippines before, but has an interest in coming here. Sorry, these ants. My almost 12 years here doesn't make me an expert, but it does give me a unique perspective, and I like to share that with you. It's going to make your trip here more enjoyable and above all things safer. I'm boots on the ground. I'm in the center of all this. It's for your benefit. I live among the locals, and I'm always going to give you the nitty-gritty. It's just exactly what I'm seeing, what I'm living, what I'm experiencing. I'm never going to sugarcoat that. I want to talk about today is being locked up in the Philippines. But before I do, you know, today's Saturday here already in the Philippines, but I forgot to tell you yesterday, Thursday evening, I guess afternoon, I guess it was around 2 p.m., it was a slight earthquake here. I felt a tremor. I was in my bed, I was reading, and the bed was started shaking. And I thought, well, maybe it's in my mind, but then when my girlfriend got home from work, she told me, she said, did you feel that earthquake? And you know, and I said, yeah, I thought I felt that tremor. And yeah, it was an earthquake here. But that's not the first earthquake I've ever felt here. In 2000, let's see. Well, actually, I felt one in Zamboanga last year during the pandemic. But also I felt one, the biggest one I ever felt was around New Year's 2012 in Cebu. I mean, I felt the earthquake and the aftershock. I mean, so that's something that's starting to become, you know, prevalent over here in the Philippines that it wasn't before. Also, you know, a guy asked me a question, and I forgot to get his name, but it's in my comments. He says, I don't really know what he means by this, but he says, because you talk about the seriousness of getting drunk in the Philippines. So I guess he's talking about the hazards of getting drunk, I guess, you know, because I know I drive better when I'm drinking. When I'm drunk, I drive better. I know that, but I don't, you know, I guess, you know, I always give the advice, because I stopped drinking in May, it'll be 23 years. But from what I'm seeing, remember, I'm going to give you the nitty gritty over here. If you're going to get drunk, it's best you get drunk in the privacy of your home, your compound, you know, your hotel, Airbnb. As foreigners, we're being watched constantly. And if somebody sees you drunk out here, nothing good is going to come from that. Then, you know, when we drunk, you know, just based on my experience, man, we make some bad decisions. You may flirt with the wrong person. You may curse out the wrong person. Yeah, so there's nothing good about, you know, getting drunk here in the Philippines. I guess it's all bad. Especially don't drink with the locals, okay? Because they'll say stuff to you and do stuff that they would never do sober. I was also asked about, you know, what's the credit? Is there a credit bureau here? You know, what's the process if you go get a motorcycle or something like that? I looked that up, and, you know, the Philippines doesn't have a centralized credit scoring system. They have something called, let me read this, it's called the Credit Information Corporation. That's the closest thing they have here. And so what banks and stuff do is they use a lot of private sources to try to get your information, but there's no centralized like we have over in America, like TransUnion, you know, and like that. We have 3 major ones over there. But over here there's nothing. So what I've seen is, like, my girlfriend, she just walked into place. Your job is your credit for a lot of these places. You know, I guess the Philippines is like the buy her, pay her, capital of the world, so to speak. Like that. But there's no centralized credit bureau. Even when I rent my places here, there's no background check. There's no vetting. If you got the money, they'll let you, move in. But, I want to talk about what happens if you're arrested over here in the Philippines. The first thing you want to do is contact the U.S. Embassy or your consulate in Cebu. The U.S. Embassy's in Manila. And of course, they can't do a whole lot. They can contact your family. They can make sure you're treated fairly. They're not going to represent you. They're not going to appoint you a lawyer or anything like that. But they can steer you toward a lawyer. They can help you in general ways like that. But it's not a whole lot because remember, you're in the Philippines, so you're under Philippine law. So if you get arrested, what's waiting for you? Well, the Philippines, their prisons here and jails suffer from overcrowding like it does all over the world. But, you got to couple that with just filthy living conditions. There's a lot of violence. I was reading about the Manila City Jail, which is the biggest jail in the Philippines. It was designed to hold comfortably 170 people, but right now there's over 500 people in that jail. All right. In that new Bilibid prison, the main prison here for the tough guys here, over 5,000 people die every year from filthy conditions and overcrowding, And then, of course, I'm going to talk about tuberculosis, an uncontrollable outbreak of tuberculosis in that jail. But I'm going to talk about tuberculosis today, too. Some of these jails, I wouldn't let my dog stay in them, but that's the reason why I always tell guys, hey, when you come over here, man, be humble, keep a low profile, stay as far underneath the radar as you can, because one of the consequences of not doing that is you're liable to be locked up. And see, here's the crazy thing about being locked up over here. 75% of the prisoners over here are locked up pre-trial. They're still, they're serving time and they've never even been convicted of a crime. A lot of them end up doing more time that outweighs the crime. You understand? So this is what you're looking at when you come over here. Now, of course, if you got money, because corruption is big in the prison system over here, that may help you. But, a lot of us, realistically, man, we don't have a whole lot of money. We're not rich, really, when we come over here. So the best thing to do, man, is just to stay out of trouble. Know who you dealing with. Know who you allowing in your house and who you're hanging around with and all that. I mean, it's just simple, common sense stuff, guys. I'm not preaching to you. I always come to you from a position of brotherhood, of support. But you don't want to go to jail here. This is the way, you think jail in America is like a resort compared to the jails here. And I'm not overstating anything. It's true. You don't want anything to do with these jails over here, because you'll be locked up for a long time before you ever even go to court. There's no due process for you. So stay out of jail here. I had a comment a couple of days ago. The guy says, hey, Calvin, another vlogger, he suggested that we take our girlfriends to the doctor because a lot of them may have tuberculosis. He said, what do you think about that? And I said, man, I'm going to tip my hat to the vlogger, whoever he is, because if you look at my video on the AIDS crisis in the Philippines, I took a lot of heat when I said, hey, guys, when you come over here, make sure you take your girlfriend to the doctor, to check for STDs, whether she's pregnant already, etc., like that, right? But he says, that other vlogger, and I don't know how I missed this because I've got personal experience with this, okay? He says, yeah, you better take your girlfriend to the doctor because a lot of them have tuberculosis and they're hiding it. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Tuberculosis is endemic in the Philippines, and that's just a fancy word for very common over here. It's regularly found in the Philippines. Matter of fact, 1 million Filipinos have active TB right now, the third largest in the whole world. 95% of the people, it's latent. They have a latent TB infection, meaning they don't even show any symptoms, but they have it, see? And it's so bad that there's a travel risk, associated with tuberculosis. It's bad enough that you need to know about it, but see, most of us, I don't know what's going to affect most of us more, tuberculosis or hot pan syndrome, because he gave some pertinent information, some great information, but we're not listening because we've got that hot pan syndrome. Then we get over here, we want to take our clothes off and jump into bed with somebody. We're not worrying about STDs. We're not worrying about tuberculosis. Imagine down of tuberculosis in 2021 if you're from America or one of them other Western countries. Man, that's embarrassing. But it's something that I would suggest you do. 70 people, imagine this, 70 Filipinos die every day needlessly from tuberculosis, man. Because a lot of them don't know they have it. A lot of them, they're poor. They can't afford to get the treatment that they need. But when he says, hey, when you get over here, he would suggest you going to the doctor, with your girlfriend to check on tuberculosis and a lot of other things. It's just the right thing to do. You can't look at this woman that you're talking to online and say, oh, she's a great person. Oh, she's in good health. You can't do it, guys. We're basing too much on this online dating. We're putting too much faith into it. And it's time that we stop, man, and start doing something different. I'm going to give you my experience. Okay, my wife, when we was going through the K1 process, her sputum test came up positive, So, if you have a sputum test, what they'll do is, you have to cough up something and then they'll put it in a culture. And then after 3 or 4 days, if it's, positive, you have to go into treatment. But it takes 6 months, really, before they will allow you to take that medical again. So she took it, she had a positive. So that set us back 6 months. All right. Well, during the 6-month process, she has to wait 6 months. I told you during the K1 process, I sent my son through that when I didn't even have to. So we wasted a lot of time. So while we're waiting on the CRBA, because her sputum comes back negative, she's good to go, guess what? Her medical expires. She has to go through it again. And guess what? It comes up positive again. Puts us back 6 months again. Took us 22 months to get her over there in the United States. So I'm thinking, it's some faulty, equipment over to the Philippines, because too many women was getting that, and also women were coming back positive for TB, but it just, it went in one ear and came out the other. But when we went back home, when we finally got over her, took her to the clinic, and I'd be damned, she come up, it showed a positive TB test, and I was shocked. I was really shocked, man, and to this day, I don't even know if she really has it or not. We went through a 6-week process that they gave her over there with antibiotics and different things like that. But whoever that blogger was, he gave you his information was on the money. And I don't know how I missed it. Remember, I'm not a know-it-all. But, yeah, man, when you come over here, don't let that hot pan syndrome get you. Man, we get over here, we want to take off our pants and, and just go at it. And it's cost a lot of us, man. It's cost a lot of us in a lot of different ways. And in 2021, it's just too much data, too much information out there. This is the age of information. We don't have to do that, man. It's the blind leading the blind. Polio is still over here, man. We eradicated tuberculosis in the United States, but it's a danger over here. It's a risk because, while you complaining about wearing that mask and that damn shield, is saving your life over here. Because, tuberculosis is an airborne disease, man, and it contacted the same way this damn COVID is. You breathe in the droplets and all that of somebody affected, and there you go. See? But, most of us have the hot pan syndrome, man, and, that's cost us a whole lot. I wish I could come up with a cure for that, I'd be rich. But it's just a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. Come over here, man, and act like you got some sense. You don't want to get locked up over here. I wouldn't let my dog stay one night in jail over here. Okay? The jails in America, believe it or not, and I'm just not an overstatement, they're resorts compared to the jails here. Okay, because overcrowding is the least thing you got to worry about. You got to deal with filthy conditions. You got to deal with violence, man. They got vigilante violence over here that you would never even experience in America. And yeah, take your girl to the doctor day, the first day you get here. You know, the first morning. You know, don't even sleep with her that first night. You know, have some control. You know, act like you got some sense. You 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. You can't look at somebody and say whether they got tuberculosis or AIDS, okay? 90 to 95% of the cases over here are latent. They're not showing any symptoms, all right? So take her to the doctor. If she wants to get angry about that, you find you somebody else. Man, your life is on the line, okay? Imagine how embarrassing it would be for you to die of tuberculosis in 2021 and you come from America or you come from Britain or Australia, one of the places where we've eradicated that for years, okay? So start listening to some of these vloggers, man. We're not stupid, we're not know-it-alls, but hell, we living over here. We do know some stuff, all right? So if you're in America or Amsterdam, Denmark, it's getting late, Britain, Guam. Was Guam? Well, it's early in Guam. And before you let your head hit the pillow, please help somebody. When you're on one of them late grocery runs, beer runs, weed runs, you're getting off second shift, you see somebody in the street, buy them something to drink, buy them something to eat, give them a couple of dollars. We need each other. They working on that other stimulus package, $1,400. There's no telling when that's going to come. My check is sitting in my daughter's mailbox right now, but she finally went and got it. I got to figure out a way to cash that, and then I'll probably just give it all away anyway. I don't need it over here. It's very important we find somebody to help over there in America, man. If you're in the Philippines, what's about? It's not even 8 a.m. yet. Got up early again today. So we got the whole rest of the day to find somebody to help. All right, 10 million jobs gone, wiped out, this pandemic. So we need to help each other. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. We help other people, we help ourselves. Take care, stay safe, stay COVID free, and I'll see you next time.